All right, good morning. Freaking 5-year-old's trying to get me to pick him up from school early. Like early. Like, no. Morning, Eli. Morning, Rob. How you guys doing? Eli, are you gonna be in Slack later? I'd actually like to pick your brain with my app for a few minutes if you don't mind. If you're busy, let me know, but if you could spare some time, I'd appreciate it. Bull market in 2020? Well, it's not too far away. We already got a few contenders. What we got here? So Nasdaq down about zero point 0.2. Volume diminished yesterday from the day before, which was pretty good. Okay, yeah, thanks, Eli. Yeah, I'll just ping you, and then you just let me know if you're available. Sand, nice little move up today. Look at the 5 minute, got a nice curl going on here. That's not too bad. This one's been forming a base. Um, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this should be another. That's a flat base right there, and that should be a cup. So that's a cup and then an immediate flat base. I'm not even sure this would be considered a high handle. I haven't really seen any rules on high handles. I've heard about them, but I'm not sure about any rules on them. But regardless, I think your general buy point would be at about the same level. So I got a son with the flu, and some of us are getting some little coughs, so could be getting sick again. If I don't show up one day, it's because I'm sick. Or a week. If I don't show up for a week, it's because I'm sick. Welcome to the flu. Am I right? Yeah, I don't know how the rest of the people deal with the flu, but SLV, ANIC, SOI, not much on fire this morning, at least on the actionable list. We got some upward moves. Restoration Hardware down about 2%. These could be decent buyable opportunities for these Restoration Hardware recent winner after earnings. Not quite down at the 10-day moving average. That may be it. That's a pretty quick down move this morning. That may be all we get for a downside move in Restoration Hardware. Could nibble down here if you're looking for a pullback buy. NASDAQ just went positive. Let's look at the Qs. Is that the same thing? Yeah, we just had a big spike higher. Look at that. Pop, pop, pop. Then you go NASDAQ 0.04, 0.06, 0.09, back down to 4, up to 10. So it looks like we're trying to do something. That's a pretty big bar at the open pretty so far. Good volume. Compared to yesterday, day before yesterday, not too bad. Still holding there at the highs, 0.11, 0.18. See what happens if we get towards the high of the overnight session at about 205 here on the Qs. But so far we went green pretty fast. I guess they like Trump getting impeached. Are those hearings starting yet? They started at 9 o'clock, which started 37 minutes ago. So live impeachment hearings. I've been watching most of these. Man, it's just a very interesting thing to watch. I see both sides messing it up royally. That's what I see. And they both have extraordinarily valid points. The Republicans' points, I think the Democrats' points are about the actual charges, and the Republicans' points about the rules. I think those are valid points. 0.28%. Getting with it quick. All right, reaching that high of the day from the overnight session. See if we go off my chart and go up, or if we stall out here. If you look at the daily chart, this could be our range for the day. You could also see it going a little bit higher and maintaining about the same breadth. So we could pop up a little bit more, but maybe we get more breadth to the downside. That could be our move for the day. We haven't really breached that point quite yet. Move to Arizona. Should move to Arizona anyways, Eli. It's great out here. It's great. Our low is like your high. So TRN yesterday, just got a big move up right there. Beautiful. Look at this expansion in volume in yesterday. Well, it's just a gorgeous up day. Just really expanded past the high and into even more highs. Just going to take a measured move from this prior move. That's the slope of the move, taking you up into the 26 level. So I don't think that's necessarily out of character for this name. And with the way it exploded off yesterday, that could be a decent possibility. Maybe not all the way up there, but could take a little bit of time. But that's a great move. And actually the option for that yesterday, I found out, if you look at TRN, if you look at taking it out to January, you look at the 25, yesterday was 10 cents, today is 20 with a 5 ask, but 0. If it gets higher than that, but anyway, if it gets up in that area, in those highs, there's some really good percentage gains here. Really good. But there's a lot of risk involved in the really low price, so to get any kind of exposure, I took a trade yesterday. It cost me $150 for the actual trade, which in zero commission days seems like a lot of commission. Oh, Eli, there's all kinds of stuff to do in Arizona. It's just not packed in the same 1 square mile area. But I do admit it probably would be somewhat of a paradigm shift from big city living. It's pretty cool, though. I like it. All right, so where are we at? 0.58 on the NASDAQ. Wow, moving up towards the top Bollinger Band. Still going. All right, Win. We got some action here. Win finally popping up. Look at that. Sweet. What did Win do? Oh, this is today. This isn't even yesterday. That's straight up today. All right. What's the play on Win here? There's not much to do in the suburbs themselves, but usually it's just a bunch of houses spread out on every quarter acre or an eighth of an acre or 16th of an acre. SIVB, Win here is looking pretty good. A little bit extended up 6%, but SIVB, so I've got a trend line up top here on the weekly. We're getting pretty close to that. So we had this flag here. I didn't draw it, but I do remember. I mean, that's pretty obvious, right? So we had this flag here, kind of a parallel situation, almost parallel. And you can see that this looks a little bit like that TRN we saw yesterday. Not a tremendous amount of volume this morning, though. Increased volume on the way up here is pretty good. Pocket pivot on SIVB. So that's pretty good. I can't be too mad at that. A break of this trend line ideally would start a larger expansion. And if you take a measured move situation with a little bull flag, which is what we have here, then you've got maybe an expansion up there to the 275 level. If you actually, from the lows there. I think that's what I did with TRN. Yeah, see, I took it from the low. I do that in crypto too. Just making sure I'm honest with myself. Yeah, you take it from the low because you want the entire move, and I think this is included in the entire move. I don't think you take this from the breakout point. I think it's a little bit disingenuous if you try to, a little bit greedy, especially this is a fairly large percentage move too. It's like 28%, 29%, so not too bad. You move that far only if you hate your neighbors or people in general. I don't know, maybe. I've really only lived in suburbs my entire life, I got to be honest with you. When I lived in California, lived in Tustin, which was a very suburb type of environment. And then when I moved to Arizona, Arizona's nothing but suburbs. Like we have a downtown, but our downtown is very small. Um, very small, but you can live in a downtown area. You don't. It's but the vast majority of Phoenix is suburbs. Tempe would probably give you a feel similar to what you're looking for, and downtown Phoenix is starting to get better in that regard too. But there's a lot. You can go 2 miles outside of downtown Phoenix and there's suburbs. it's it's not like it's 60 miles out of town. It used to be like L.A. and New York and some of those cities would kind of started the suburb thing, and it just you pushed out of the city, but the city grew into the suburbs, so it's not necessarily as remote as I think it used to be. But all right, let's go check out the global watch list here. Our Sienna, that's a big gap up off of some lows. Wow. Look at the daily chart there. Gap down, then a big gap up. 200-day moving average. Wind stalling up here a little bit, but still up really nicely. Lumber liquidators coming to the 200. INSG a new high. Las Vegas Sands, which is akin to Win, up 3%. Although Las Vegas Sands much higher in their chart than Win, so they may be the leader in this particular sector. I'm not sure on that one. ENDP, AMC, Micron, good volume this morning. That could be a big expansion. Micron looks like it's broken. So we're seeing this same flag pattern. This is the third time we're seeing it, and something is trying to break out. TRN has already broken out relatively nicely. Micron is trying to do that. Great volume this morning. This may be loosely actionable. It's up a little extended right now, though. Earnings on the 18th. So do with that what you will, but you kind of have an inverted head and shoulders, and that is a break of your neckline, which should make this go back into an uptrend. Shoulder, shoulder, shoulder. We didn't have the shoulder when I drew this, which is why there's no circle there. There's your neckline, and then boom, we're breaking the shoulder. So could stall at the head, but probably not the way the NASDAQ's going up 0.57% now. Cool. This is good moves right here. You got some good possibility. AVGO, new highs right there, 328. New highs right now. Volume, relatively good. Cup and handle, pretty big one. That could be a nice move right there. Got 22% downtrend, so there's a cup. That would be your handle. Actually, right there. We have a failed breakout and then a breakout here today in our volume. This is a good day. There's some stuff to look at today. Come on, LK. Where you at? Stop moving. Haha, I caught you. Okay, pulling back, not bad. You got another declining trend line here. Support it. There's the 10, the 20, and I think that's the 50. I think I saved the 20 on here. Is the 20 gone? I had the 20 on here. Nope, no 20 anymore. What happened to my 20? Nah, that's not what I want. I think that's what I want. There we go. I do have a 20-day moving average. 10, 20, 50, 200. Okay. So, it's a recent IPO. So this is the 50. It's not the 200. 10, 20, 200. Gotcha. Or 50. 50, no 200. So, finding some support down. Look at all this volume yesterday. Big cascade down on LK. Didn't undercut recent lows. Could be an under. Ooh, one thing that did have an undercut and rally. Shoot, I know I was talking about it because I had a trend line there. Let's go to the actionable list. I think I finally caught an undercut and a rally. I didn't trade it though. Not really. So talking recently about the undercut. Here's an undercut and rally on JD. So there's an undercut. You can see it right there, that wick down to the 50-day moving average. That's an undercut, and then you rally through that. That's your buy point with your stop at the low. Haven't triggered any trades based on that particular setup yet, but it's I'm starting to catch them, so maybe I'll start to do that. This one, Minor undercut and rally based off of this low over there. Right there's a tiny one. Some patience and you're back up here. Xilinx, I think this one had the undercut and rally. It did have one. That's not the one I'm thinking of though. Right there. There's your low for the undercut. Kind of gapped. Little island bottom down there. Elevated volume too. I didn't notice that. Almost a hammer candle, not quite a hammer. Elevated volume. That's a pretty decent little bottom. Doesn't always work that way out in stocks, but that's a nice little signal. And then lots of green over here to the right. Stalling out back up here at our trend line. So we'll see if we're able to get over that. I think Regeneron looks like it had an undercut and rally too, under these little lows right there from the other day. So see, we're able to bounce back. This one continuing to go. Remember Regeneron we had right in this little area down here, and then just boom, straight up from there. Xilinx. Oh, we just looked at that one. Skyworks just continues to make recent highs. Manitowoc. Yesterday we drew that downward sloping small trend line. We're breaking that today onto the bigger trend line. Looks like Nvidia trying to bounce up. Here's the undercut and rally that I was thinking about. LVGO right there. Little undercut and rally. Look at that great volume. That's really good volume. Now remember, these candle colors are all jacked up. This should be a red candle in my opinion because it closed under the, and this one's pretty obvious. It's a gap down. The volume shows the correct price color, but this does not. So got to go by the volume color and the price candle, which is a little bit weird, but I don't think I'm finally seeing things a little more clear with candlesticks. It used to be I couldn't see candlesticks and all I saw was OHLC. Now I think that may have been reversed. I think I'm maybe looking at candlesticks everywhere now. Looking at crypto so long. So right there, a little undercut and rally for LVGO. Very good volume too. So came back down on tons of volume, then came back up. Gave you a couple opportunities playing around. You could have even got it right there on the breakout. And then you're in a decent spot. Not great, but, you know, decent spot. So undercut and rallies, we're starting to see them. I'm going to start pointing them out more and more as I see them, which means I probably have to spend more time in the lows of the chart to try to find things that are moving down. Then you're going to have to try to be aggressive on the move back through a low. So this is fairly new trading for me. But from what I've been seeing, they've been loosely successful. I haven't done any statistics on them yet, but it looks like if you're in an uptrend and you get an undercut and rally, I think that's the place to be. Maybe in support in a situation similar to this, if we come down a little bit, test the moving average and bounce back up, that could be an entry point. BEP looks like one of these little tiny consolidations this thing has for a couple of days, then it's back to the races. So you could buy this on any pullback that it's almost ever had. You get to the 20-day, it's a gift, which is this day this trend line right there. There's your 50-day pullback, BEP. Don't have any position in that one, unfortunately. Been thinking about it for months. There's a little minor undercut and rally right there. Your stop would be down there on yesterday's high volume candle. So we're pretty close to, looks like about $2, $2.50 away from that low and $100. So 2% stop on that one potentially. EPAM. Kind of a weird head and shoulders pattern going on there. Netflix supportive of maybe at a trend line. That one's not too bad. So could consider that an undercut and a rally right there if it breaks back up. So there's the trend line right there, I think. I think that's it. Looks like it. So we bounce back above that again. You can give your stop down to one of those levels. So some potentials here for some of those undercut and rallies, and also some breakouts. Winnebago still in its larger flag. This has got to be a tight base or a flat. Yeah, 12.65. So this is your flat base for Winnebago. Arguably an early buy point on this trend line break. Actually, you probably can't argue it. That's just a fact. Argue this with me. You won't win. That would be an early breakout point on that trend line break. And we're squeezing around these moving averages too. Remember we talked yesterday about the moving averages converging? Here we have a slight example that we're not including the 200-day moving average, but we have the 10, the 20, and the 50 getting really close to one another. And that's where we can see some nice moves come from. You've seen that. I've seen that in the past several months. Mentioned it a few times, but haven't really harped on it I'm starting to think it's a thing. We saw one yesterday, I don't remember the name, that had super tight moving averages and then just a boom, big expansion of those. So I think that could be a good thing. Looking for that moving average tightening. Kind of like that. Ring, nice gap up today, but we're pulling in volume low on the gap up and the pullback. We'll see how this one does, but it's above this pattern, so hopefully we can just maintain up there, and then eventually we'll start to get a trend. Fortinet still not moving. This one's super tight. This is one that Rob has still. I had it for a minute and I sold it off as it started to go sideways. It may jump back in this one again if it tries to break out. Looks like it's been a couple weeks tight. Yeah, we said this was a 3 weeks tight base already. We may get 4 weeks tight if this action continues. Anything in between you don't need to fit all the studies. There we go. Anything in between the high and the low candle. So here's your high, here's your low candle. Any close in between here is going to add to the 3 weeks tight pattern. 3 and 4 weeks tight is good. 5 weeks tight, you have another base, which isn't... I'd rather it stay a 3 weeks tight pattern and break out on the 4th week, or maybe on the 5th week. But this wiki action down here on the weekly, not necessarily the best action. I'd like it to remain tight throughout, even tight ranges. That's even better. We didn't discuss this part yesterday, but the tight range up here would be better. It would make a very small little bull flag and a very tight consolidation, but either way, it's a very tight consolidation. We only had 1 day for the spike lower, and that was pretty much our highest volume candle of the base other than our topping candle here at 106. That should be the highest volume candle, and this being the next highest volume candle. Can't be too mad at that. So, don't know if you want to jump in here immediately. You could and maybe put a stop under the 102.44 level. That would be a fairly tight stop. But again, you're arbitrarily buying. That's about a 1.5% stop. That's pretty tight. This is generally a tight range. Fortinet definitely on a very short list of good-looking contenders. Goose trying to rally through. CRM, let's see if you've got an undercut going on here. So in an uptrend, we've broken up. I'm not sure we undercut that a little bit. I think this would be a more important pivot low. I'm not sure if we're going to get back down here, though. That was earnings day, and that low should be held, in my opinion. We should hold that low, so maybe you would have to enter arbitrarily on this pullback and then give yourself a stop under that some amount. But if we pull back, that may just get hit. Your other option is maybe a trend line break or break of a moving average or something. The trend line looks like it's breaking right now as we come back down to the supportive trend line. So that's where the squeeze comes into play, and price can't justify going lower here. So there's a possibility for CRM. Visa's up a third. We'll see about Visa. As a NASDAQ doing 0.6%. So we're holding nice. So far, it looks like we're going to break up. We're going to try to expand those Bollinger Bands to the upside. We've been talking about how the Bollinger Bands are narrow, and they've been narrow. Now we may start to see some expansion. You can see the top curling out and the bottom one going flat. That's going to lead to an expansion. So could get an expansion here. HEI, been following this one lately. Could be an undercut and rally situation here off of this little low. We're trying to break up through here again. Supported this 200-day moving average, chopping around the 50 a little bit. But that's not too bad. We did break it, but not on major volume. So I still think this needs a little bit more time. Not so sure I'm jumping on board this one quite yet. It's not a sharp rally back through, though. I think that would be best if you get a very sharp rally. We're not doing that. We're kind of chopping around this, wherever this low is over here. Kiwi ZTO, nice. Carvana, pretty nice on the comeback here. Nothing major there. You're just potentially buying a bottom down here off of, it looks like a 20-day bounce. Alibaba. Disney, what are you up to, Disney? You're still hanging out up here. Hasn't done much. Tried to rally higher, pulled back. Haven't undercut this low, so finding quite a bit of support right there. Very low volume, not a lot of buying volume stepping in as of yet. I think you get any kind of buying volume and the price starts to turn up. I think that could be buyable, but there's no major pattern here. Some support here at this 143 level is good, but other than that, not too bad. Visa getting super tight. Looks like it. Yeah, pretty tight range here. Could go either direction. Chopping around the moving averages. Hasn't really undercut any level. Undercut in a rally wouldn't have worked on Visa except for this low right here. Other than that, you've just been in basically a straight uptrend. And any buy at the lower part so far has been good, but we haven't moved. So yeah, I think you got a low risk entry point. Anytime lower on this trend line. Higher volumes right now, though. Let's look at that. That's a little intriguing. Whoops, that's not what I wanted. So very high volume candle, green candle here. It's a red candle, but it's green volume. Again, we're going by the candle color for the bar color because Thinkorswim is retarded. So that should be a green candle. That is a very nice pocket pivot. Very nice pocket pivot. Not a pocket pivot, but a good day. And then two lower volume red candles. So we're definitely seeing some good action. This very large red candle, not quite average volume with quite a bit of bottoming wick. You could loosely argue that is actually that could be a support candle. Usually 0.4% of this range would imply as a support candle. That's loosely 0.4. I would argue slightly under 0.4, like 0.38 or something like that. I don't know exactly, but pretty close to a support candle. Elevated rally here on elevated volume. And another pocket pivot, another pocket pivot, another pocket pivot. You could argue this is a pretty damn bullish setup on Visa. On the right side of this chart, you've got a handful of pocket pivots, which is more than you usually get. Very tight consolidation range. Very tight range here. You start to break out of this, and I think you may have yourself maybe we'll finally start an explosive rally up on Visa. That's a possibility. So that could be a really good trade on Visa coming out of a very tight base. If you remember, Starbucks was, I would say this is very like Starbucks. In terms of our like Starbucks was the last trade I was kind of excited about. Obviously that one didn't work out, but this one having a very similar feel to it. Base only 10% deep, so very tight base and pretty decent volume on the right side. So if it doesn't break out, you got a fairly tight stop loss on this at some of these recent lows. But it is still in a choppy area. NASDAQ going for a 0.87. We're at the top of the Bollinger Bands. I'm not viewing that as a sell signal because it got really tight, so this is just expanding the Bollinger Bands in my opinion. AMD up 4%. Wow. Look at that volume. It's been continuing. I think we saw this earlier with good volume, didn't we? It was one of these we saw with good volume. So here, another one with a big... Well, that's a pretty 3 weeks tight right there, buddy. We didn't look at this from that perspective, did we? Haha. Getting some good spots right here, man. Okay, come on. I'm getting too excited now. I want to look all over the place. That definitely looks like a 3 weeks tight pattern. 1.4%, so pretty good there. So that's a 3 weeks tight pattern. Your technical breakout from a 3 weeks tight pattern is the high. And if you look at this on a weekly chart, I mean, I don't know if you want to take a measured move off of that, but you can imagine 27 to 40, that's a $13 range, and argue from 40 to 53 would be your measured move. If we can get a measured move out of this pattern, it's a pretty, I mean, there's no red candles here, so it looks a little bit weird, but that would be Look at that. Look at the low volume on this on the weekly. Of course, I think that was Thanksgiving, so that would kind of account for that. But the volume before Thanksgiving was tremendous. Very low volume. Last week was pretty low volume. Arguably the lowest, probably the fourth or fifth lowest week we've had. And now we have volume expansion. So this could be really good for AMD. Let's take a look at a trade here. I'm a little late to this ball game too. I should have been looking. Damn it. Not sure if we'll get a pocket pivot, have a couple big red ones over. Actually, we could. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Could get a pocket pivot today as long as we're above these red candles here. So this could be a pocket pivot day. Although I'm not sure about this moving up much past 4%. I mean, it could. You could see a nice 10% day on AMD. They're fairly rare, though, for AMD. If you look at the breadth of the candles, you have this. It's got to be earnings or something. Oh, there's earnings. So this is not earnings, but there's a nice big gap. So that would be a big breadth candle. But this guy looks like it's extending up and going for it. A little late to that party, though. That's a little late. Not a big fan of a little late, but the NASDAQ is going for it right there. So next leg up on the NASDAQ could lead to the next leg on a lot of these. And the NASDAQ breaking highs. Yeah, right there. That's a new high for the NASDAQ, at least for the futures. It's actually good stuff today, guys. Let's just hope we can keep it up. The question is, for AMD, where can we go? Because again, if you take a measured move out of this, which this is a little bit less of a base than we have in some of the other names. You're looking up here at about the 51 level. It looks like if you take that as a strict measured move, it takes you out to January. That's some, after the end of January sucks, to the 124. Those are some really good gains. I think the percentages are probably skewed in some way. Tesla up 2.3%. So more short covering or bulls or something up there, but Tesla trying to get back towards recent highs. It never really backed away from them, actually. Alibaba, this is one we've been looking at for the China story. Still poking at recent highs. That's going to be gone pretty soon. Anyway, X is still lower. Oh, Ring. Not a very good look for you there, Ring. Momo, been eyeballing Momo for a while. Hasn't really shown any bullish signs though, as the Nasdaq's reaching, or it's 0.92. It's trying to get up there towards 1%. Firmly, almost firmly out of the Bollinger Bands. Nasdaq 0.5%, or Visa. Come on. Killing me. Xilinx, Tesla. Okay, AMD backing off a little bit. You could find yourself maybe an entry point if it can pull back a little bit, but I'm not sure. I don't know what the NASDAQ doing this. Let's go look at our global watch list and see what else we're missing. Sienna now up 12%. It's doubled since we saw it last. Maybe not. It feels that way. ENDP 6%. That's an outside day. The volume is a little higher. Could find some distribution coming up shortly. Okay, nothing. Undercut and rally could have been done right there with your stop at that low. That would have been fine the past couple of days. Wind flagging out very tightly. We'll see if that continues. TSM with a nice gap up today. Look at that thing. Holy crap. How come I didn't extend that trend line? Look at that trend line break. Just ridiculous. Just ridiculous. I love those big, long trend line breaks. ABG, what the hell? AMD, let's find me a long trend line break. TNA, this is the small cap Russell 2000 3 times ETF. That is a good break. Look at that volume. Oh yeah, that is nice. Look at that volume. We're already about 2/3, or little over half of yesterday's volume. We're only a half hour into the session. That is awesome. That is really good. That could be a good day for the small caps. Small caps are joining in. We're going. We said that the last time we were playing at that trend line too, and then we stalled. United Rentals trying to break out right there. I want those longer bases. There's one for SIVB. Not quite as sexy as the last one we saw because we're kind of in a lower consolidation, but that could be a potential reversal. United Rentals already broken out. We had this one here. It looks like I didn't extend that, but look at right where we broke out. It's perfect. I love those trades, man. I haven't seen a lot of them lately, though. Well, I did some earlier in the year. Haven't seen them like lately. AVGL, looks like that's a breakout of a cup and handle pattern, a traditional breakout. These haven't worked very well lately. These bottom breakouts like this have worked just tremendously. You know what? I had a list of these actually. I had a list of long-term turnarounds. Light already gone. Skyworks already gone. ABC not there yet. ABC could be maybe another one to go, but this is a super long base. Could be good though. Goose, not quite the same type of basing structure. STZ hasn't been cooperating. Booking. Yeah, looks like a pullback all the way back in. Could be an opportunity. Yeah, it really didn't go much lower than that gap. So you can argue there's quite a bit of support down here, and at some point, maybe we'll get another trend line. Maybe this is our trend line now. This looks much better, to be honest with you. You may have caught this one a little bit early with this particular downward trend line. This one looks much more like a normalized trend line slope to me. So a break of this, I think, would be your bigger go. Fortinet already gone, and maybe trying to go again. Yeah, I got to get back into this one, period. That's my trend line, dude. That's my effing trend line. All these things go on to have big moves if they break it. Baba, broken already. Got to get back into that one. Well, I never was into that one. DocuSign, broke that one, gone. Those trend lines are good. Court didn't work out so well. You could argue this is very expansive on the slope, very steep, and I think that would be accurate, although it is a type of a pattern. You can see the ones that tend to work. And that one's worked. That was pretty steep. But Skyworks is a leader. I'm not so sure about Court. I'm not sure if Court's a leader. And Restoration Hardware, perfect. Boom. Exploded. Gone. Got to keep looking for these big multi-year bases, guys. If you find them, show them to me and I will put them on my list. So need more of those. Definitely need more of those. That's what did me so good in 2017. Still haven't gotten back to that form yet. Damn it. Ooh, 811. I'm on fire here, guys. Wynn Casinos. Here's one, too. That one could be one. Kind of have a couple of multi-year bases here, actually. You have another big trend line there, so this could be a move up into this trend line, potentially for Wynn. And this one's going up about 7%. A little difficult to get involved up 7%. You're going to pay a lot of premium there, but pretty good. Tesla 2.5. And these stocks right now, this is a story worth paying some time on. ABG, all-time highs. Las Vegas Sands trying to get towards recent highs with a big double bottom base on the weekly chart. Look at that one. That's huge. There's your breakout point, which we're breaking out of today. There's the middle of your double bottom. So we are in a breakout mode as of right now, 26%. that is well within double bottom parameters of 33%. There you go. Perfect. Didn't quite notice that before, but there's a huge double bottom base. There's your breakout point. Off to the races we go. LVS, that is, well, we're above. I mean, yesterday we closed, so we're basically 7 or 4%. So it is still buyable within a buyable range. LVS, and I'm assuming that's already been marked up. Let me check it out. LVS. So it's 20% from 65. That would be 13. That would be 78. That'd be 20%. Oh, that's not bad. You've got about, on your options, there's some good opportunities coming out 71 days into February 2021 in the 300 percentile, towards the high 200%. You can go 70 and get 249%, so that's pretty good. Definitely some good options here. Definitely some good options here. So that's even up 4%. You still have very, very good possibilities here for Las Vegas Sands on a traditional breakout. I wonder what IBD says about this as it's going right now. 74 composite rating, 7th in its industry group, -3 EPS, -4 sales, pre-tax margin 25%, ROEs 42%, -5% funds owning stock, relative strength is 80. Could be a turnaround play. Kind of hard to. Anyway, the chart's a buy. You got your earnings here: 91, 72, 75. Not very good on earnings, but may not matter in a turnaround play situation. I'm not sure what would be driving this. I don't know much about the landscape of that, but near 1%, 0.99 on the NASDAQ right now. We're going to hit 1%. That's going to go to the actionable list. Easy. All right, where's my long bases? TNA's got a long base on it right there. It's a lower consolidation base. I wish I had more data or feel about that kind of a base. We have that in NVIDIA, TNA. I've seen it on a couple other stocks. Is anyone excited about what you're seeing today? Even more than yesterday. I think the action today is much more attainable. Micron yesterday, we noted, was breaking that trend line, and then today, now we're a couple percent above. Can't see my numbers there, but there's the resistance point, and we're about 2% above the right shoulder in this head and shoulders pattern, so that could be buyable. I don't really have a great target based on this. I mean, arguably, you'd think we're going to reverse back up towards highs of 66 and change. Micron does not have a bigger basing structure here, right there, but that came down. Yeah, I think you're probably just looking at from 51. You're looking at getting back to the 60 level maybe for Micron, backing away from 1%. Nasdaq at 0.93 currently. Yep, not bad at all today. Micron going to the actionable list. Auto Home, maybe with a double bottom situation here in the weekly chart, declining trend line and trying to rally through. A couple of moving averages, going to find the 50-day coming up pretty soon. 816, I gotta go. AMD, all right, pulling back a little bit. Nasdaq stalling at about the 1%, unable to get over the round number. SIVB looking good. Good job. This is a good one too. I think let me add this to my actual list if I haven't already. That's a good one too. See, here's another one with those lower bases. I'm not sure what this means. We saw Netflix, I think it was, with this lower base, and it's struggling to really break out from it. No, not Netflix. What's the other one? NVIDIA? Yeah, there's NVIDIA with the lower base. So we are trying to rally through it now. Well, today. So we'll see if we stall up here, but the action on the daily so far has been pretty good. You have a couple of down days. That's a big supportive day, higher volume than the previous day, and then we're back into an uptrend. So I think, I don't know, I think we're good here. But I got to get going 8:17, guys. I'll be back tomorrow. Looks like a lot of work to do. Get those longer bases in these situations. You just got to find them. But a lot of them looks like they've already broken out. They broke out early while the market still looked like it was figuring out what it was going to do. I mean, look at TSM right there. Of a big, huge base. Just boom. Just off and gone. I love those. I love those big, huge bases. Nothing better than that, really. I mean, I haven't, in terms of percentage of them working, I would argue very high percentage of them go on to work. There's URI with a big, long downtrend. I mean, just trend line trading. Here's another one. MTZ. Chopped around the trend line a little bit over there, but boom. SOI could be bouncing off the bottom of a similar situation. All right, I got to go, guys. I got to go. I got a sick kid, and I got to get ready for the stock or the crypto show. AVGO. That one's that's the breakout. All right, guys. I'll see you tomorrow, right? Today's Thursday, isn't it? Yeah, today's Thursday. All right, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good day. Bye.